So Far Away Nisha, Julie Andrews, thoughts?
Yeah, she's pretty cool. I really enjoy Mary Poppins, especially when it turns into half cartoon.
See, personally, I just like the Princess Diaries. With a career spanning 7 decades, Julie Andrews has been an actor longer than most people have been alive, and she's received more commendations for pretending to be somebody else than James Bond. Arguably the most noteworthy of these awards is the Golden Globe Andrews received for Mary Poppins, if only because she used it as an opportunity to deliver a thunderous dunk onto the heads of one of the most powerful men in the industry, Jack Warner.
Okay, so Jack Warner, is that one of the Warner Brothers?
Yes, it is. It is one of the titular Warner Bros. So Jack Warner is one of the founding members, one of the eponymous Warner Brothers who founded Warner Brothers Studios. You know, the studio that now has the honour of plastering their logo onto the ass of the world's second most famous fictional duck.
Daffy.
The annoying thing as well, I prefer Looney Tunes, but I've got to give it to Donald. Donald Duck's more famous, but Daffy Duck's funnier.
Yeah, definitely.
I fucking love Daffy Duck. He's so good. Why is Daffy Duck so awesome?
I just like how he just spits every time he talks.
Anyway, we need to talk. So Jack Warner, one of the most powerful men in the industry, and it's noted that at the time he was alive and in charge of Warner Bros. Studios, his word was law, and anything he said could not be meant with a hint of dissent, which is wont to happen when anytime someone questions one of your decisions, you can point to a 50-foot tall sign with your name on it. Like, do you like that scene in Futurama? It's like,
oh, yeah.
Take me to your leader, on whose authority? It's like the known universe. Oh, yeah, we better listen.
I love that episode. We get some
best
worms.
Who controls this bowel?
Who wants to know?
It's one of the best episodes of Futurama. God, it's Futurama cool. Hey, we can't. It's a long article, and I will get distracted by Daffy Duck and Futurama. We need to talk about Julie Andrews.
Okay.
And I'm not sure about you, Nisha, but for many years, I had no idea that Warner Bros. Was actually founded by a bunch of brothers with the last name Warner. I thought it was just a made-up name.
I thought maybe it's something to do with last name being Warner, because a lot of, like Walt Disney, I
That's
thought
fair, yeah.
Similar thing. Yeah.
But I had no idea it was actually founded by a bunch of brothers with the last name Warner. I thought it was just a name, but I guess that shows how divorced the name of the company now is from its origins. But to sum up, Jack Warner, a very, very powerful figure in the media industry at the time he was alive, and his word was basically law.
Okay, so where does Julie Andrews come into this?
Well, she comes into it in around the 1960s when Warner Bros. Studios were thinking about making a film adaptation of the Broadway play My Fair Lady, in which Julie Andrews had played the title role and received widespread critical acclaim for it both in America and in the UK and other territories.
So was there a reason why she was seen as so good at this role?
Well, it has a lot to do with just her natural singing ability and her ability to affect a Cockney accent, which was notably so accurate that American audiences found it indecipherable. She had to tone it down. That reminds you, when you watch American shows, news programs or documentaries, and they have a Scottish person on, and they put subtitles underneath, and I feel so fucking gutted for that Scots person.
Oh, when I went to America a few years ago, I don't think I have much of an accent. But I went to McDonald's and just wanted a coffee, and I tried to order a coffee, but the lady behind the counter could not understand what I was saying.
I can empathise with that a lot, because a lot of Americans think my name is Kyle, because I pronounce Kyle. I'm not sure where the confusion is there, but it happens so much that I once went to a Starbucks in America, and just the barista comes and goes, Kyle? And I just looked and went, yeah, that's me. And then in these videos, I have to tone down my native Yorkshire accent. I have a very broad Yorkshire accent when I'm speaking with friends. Mm-hmm. And Nisha, you can confirm that when I speak to your boyfriend, who also has a very broad Yorkshire accent, we are just indecipherable after a few pints.
Yeah.
And Julie Andrews is naturally a very well-spoken lady, but her ability to affect this very broad Cockney accent and then go to a perfect singing voice was something critics were standing by, especially in America, where just her accent was so thick it was indecipherable in early productions of it. And I feel so bad for Cockneys. Media does nothing but dunk on Cockneys, and I feel so bad for them. It's like in the IT crowd, isn't it, where Moss gets Cockney neck.
Yeah.
It's like, he speaks Cockney so hard for so long, it's a bad neck. It's like, I spoke with an accent and he gave me a bad neck. It's fucking hell.
What happened to you? Got Cockney neck. I've been speaking too much Cockney and it's done my blooming neck in.
Oh, God. Anyway.
So it's safe to say that Julie Andrews was the star of the play.
Yeah, she was like the standout performer, and as I mentioned, she got widespread critical acclaim for her performance. And when Warner Bros. Announced that they were going to do a film adaptation of the musical, a lot of people naturally assume, well, you're just going to cast Julie Andrews. Like, she knows all the songs and has been getting like consistent critical praise for her performance. She's a shoo-in, but Jack Warner was having approximately none of that. And when someone suggested to him, should we cast Julie Andrews in the leading role, he went, who? I don't know who Julie Andrews is, because despite Julie Andrews being very, very famous today, at the time it's one of her earliest breakout roles. And Jack Warner said, no, the film will never be a success if we don't cast someone people already know. And to his credit, the person he cast in Julie Andrews' stead was Audrey fucking Hepburn. So, yeah, he had a point.
Yeah.
Like, Audrey Hepburn, pretty bloody famous. But it's kind of gutting for Julie Andrews, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
And it gets a bit more gutting, Nisha, because, as mentioned, Julie Andrews, she sang all her own songs. Audrey Hepburn didn't. And this is where some of the controversy lies, because My Fair Lady very infamously dubbed over all of Audrey Hepburn's singing. Because Audrey Hepburn, she was a good singer, but she wasn't Julie Andrews good. And this became very apparent when she started recording her songs. And what the studio did is they surreptitiously got somebody else in to record all the songs and dubbed over her lines, with the exception of one song where she's supposed to sound bad. And Audrey Hepburn was apparently really fucking mad about that, because she spent months learning to sing and she was really proud of how good her singing was. And they dubbed over all of it.
Oh, that's rough.
It is. And it just gave critics more ammo, because you hired someone who can't sing. It's like, no, she can sing, so why did you dub over her?
Like, why didn't they just hire Julie?
Exactly. But, Jack Warner, he had his finger on the pulse. Like, people don't know who she is. Like, people do know who Audrey Hepburn is, but for fans of the original musical and, critics who, just consistently lauded Julie Andrews' performance, it was like kind of just an insult to her. And then you've got to feel bad for Audrey Hepburn as well, because she was getting shit on for this decision as well. And as I mentioned, she tried really hard to sing. She was really excited to showcase her singing ability. And I think there's a version of the film that got released a couple of years ago now, where they tracked down the original song recordings that she did and put those into the film. And they're pretty good. Right, here's a clip.
Ring every year without you. England still will be here without you.
Oh, I feel kind of sad now that I realised that Audrey was so excited and then they just ended up dubbing over anyway. It's so sad.
Like, she was incredibly excited to showcase her singing ability, and she spent months learning all the songs and choreography. And as mentioned, they brought someone else in, Marnie Nixon, to dub over all the singing. To make it even worse, they didn't even credit Nixon. So the person who actually did the singing didn't get credited, so that the studio could claim it was Audrey Hepburn. Oh, it's just this whole clusterfuck where just like several women got fucked over because one man's like, nah, I'm making the decisions here. This is the right one. And then everyone got annoyed about it. It did work out for Julie Andrews because she was free around the time that My Fair Lady went into production, because she wasn't in that film. And she got scouted for another film produced by a rival company. A little film called Mary Poppins.
Oh, yeah.
The film that put Julie Andrews on the map and swept the Oscars that year.
I've not seen it in years, but I used to love it as a kid.
Also as well, yeah, speaking of bad Cockney accents. Or Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, God. Yes.
So for Americans who don't know the context of that, it's largely agreed by British actors. And there's a great bit by, I think, GQ, where they were doing a celebration of English acting talent. And they just asked them all, who's done the worst English accent? Every single actor there's like, oh, it's Dick Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke's Cockney accent is so... Like, sorry, Dick, like, you're regrettable. That Cockney accent is so bad. It's, like, offensively bad.
It is, yeah, it is.
It's like if they hired me to do it.
Oh, God, I wouldn't even dare. I can't do accents, so I wouldn't even dare try.
Yeah. I don't have an affinity for accents at all, but I have a friend who does. And I bumped into him a couple of years ago, and I happened to notice that he had like 2 or 3 phones on him. It's like, why do you have these phones? Oh, see, I've got phones registered as like references. that sound like have names that sound Scottish and Irish and stuff like that. And then when I get a call on, I pretend to be someone else. And I speak with a Scottish or Irish or whatever, accent he says the person has on the phone.
Oh my God.
And then when I go in for the audition and they ask if I can do the accent, say, well, you spoke to me on the phone and you didn't twig it.
Oh my God.
I thought, that's such a good idea.
That's great.
Anyway, Julie Andrews and the Golden Globes.
Okay, so what happened with the Golden Globes?
Now, as I mentioned, Mary Poppins swept the Oscars, and one of the more notable awards handed out that evening was Best Actress to Julie Andrews, who was directly competing with Audrey Hepburn for Best Actress in My Fair Lady. And she went on stage and she gave a speech. She's like, I don't really know what to do. Like, she's speaking like very Mary Poppins-like, because that's what she was known for at the time, like doing very polite, like butter wouldn't melt, that sort of thing. So, well, I guess the only person I really need to thank is Jack Warner for making such a great film. And then walked off stage, and you can hear the audience take a second to realise what she just said. Did she just thank the person who made the film it's competing with for not casting her? And they went, yes, she did, and the audience just loses its fucking shit.
I took an enormous gulp and said,
Finally, my thanks to a man who made a wonderful movie and who made all this possible in the first place, Mr. Jack Warner.
But because Julie Andrews was so polite about it, everyone laughed. Because she did it, basically in character as Mary Poppins, and, Jack Warner was in the audience.
She just walked past him and gone, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I would say some big old brass balls on Julie Andrews for that one. Do you know what I love about Julie Andrews, though? Is that she's just such a fucking lad. Have you ever seen any interviews with Julie Andrews where she's just super gangster?
No? Gangster Julie?
She is so fucking gangster. There's an interview with, I think, Graham Norton, where they're talking about Mary Poppins. And do you know, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and then she can say it backwards? Graham Norton asks her, so can you still say it backwards? What do you mean, can I? And she just says it. She's like, how dare I'm Mary Poppins, don't question me.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
She is. And she'll always hold on to that. She don't give a fuck. I love it. It's like the voice actor for Yakko Warner from the Animaniacs. So there's an amazing bit in that show where he sings all the countries of the world. And the voice actor for Yakko learned how to do that and did it in one take and can still to this day do it. And there's even edited the song to include countries that have newly formed and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
It's fucking hell.
So I think we spoke about that in a past Fact Theme video, because I did that segment at the end where I tried to name all 50 states in the US.
Oh, and then got criticised for it.
Yeah. So I missed Massachusetts.
You could name almost every state in America despite not living there off the top of your head. So how many Americans could name all the counties of the UK?
I couldn't do that myself, so...
I can't. I just remember cheeses. That's how I do it. Just name cheeses until I run out. Or football teams. It's the easiest way.